know it's been quite a while that I felt something there, even if you're just a child. It's getting dark, sun sinking low. Maybe it's all that shade you throw. So if the walls came crumbling down, you might find we're glowing bound. But it takes time. You could go your way, I'll go mine. Yeah, I was stuck until you dropped that needle down in a flash from that August light I found, all to make my maker proud. Still don't know why you just smile so patiently as I chase down every tale but my own, while everything that this hard luck kid could dream was stranded.
There you are.
Hey,
Teddy Grossman, look at you.
what's up, man? How are you?
Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to. Do I sound okay? I have
You
this.
Mhm.
I got this cool Apogee little microphone
Right.
that I'm using. That's like a very slick, just plug and play thing. But okay, so you can hear me well.
So far, so good.
Awesome.
Apogee's working. 5 stars thus far.
Truly, very, very easy user experience.
I love it. Look at that compound. Where are you coming to us from, Teddy? From LA?
I'm coming from Los Angeles,
love
actually
it.
at my girlfriend's apartment on the west side.
Oh, it's beautiful. She's got
So-
great style, you know, goes with your
Yeah.
fashion, all that good stuff, man.
Got the philodendron or whatever it's called. It's pretty.
Yeah.
We got a
Dig
nice overcast, kind of rainy, kind of not day, which is like the best.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Right. You know what? We'll take it because here in Nashville, it's been not so fun, to put it mildly.
Oh, really? Winter
Yeah.
stuff?
Yep.
And where are you from? I just saw for a second. So you're Miami, Nashville, back and forth?
Well, I'm in Nashville now, but I came
Okay.
from Miami. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, but Teddy, I mean, look, good to see you. Your full debut album, just an amazing job. So congratulations there.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And here's like a little sample of like what my audience can expect, but it's just like great stuff, man. I mean, so smooth.
Tired of all these games we play.
I mean, these vocals, man. Oh.
And I'm running out of all my desire to keep.
So yeah, man. I mean, audience, everyone needs to completely put it. We'll put it on the link because it's just fascinating stuff, man.
Much obliged, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, you have such a great story, Teddy. And but let me start with this. You know, when an album is ready to go, like this one has been ready to go for months now.
Mhm.
You're just waiting to release it at this point, basically.
Yeah.
Do you even listen to it at this point? Or is it in a way like you don't even want to touch it because then it'll get in your head like what you would have liked to do differently?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the day you talk to me throughout the process, honestly. But as I'm sure you hear a lot, there's kind of the making of the stuff. And then once you're finished mixing, which for me was the beginning of 2020, pretty much like the first half of the year,
Sure.
you listen to these songs so many times that by the end, you're just like, okay, please give my ears a break. Just let me get away
Right.
from the music. And then you can come back to them kind of fresh in a few months. And like, I mean, I haven't really listened to a lot of these songs in a long time. So
Sure.
as we're, getting ready to release and do the necessary things for that, I have kind of listened back to them and I still love them. I mean, I think it's a great sign. Like you can, when you're making this stuff, mixing, you can literally listen to songs dozens, hundreds of times. And I'd like to think maybe it's a good sign that once I give them a necessary break, I can come back to them and still, really
Right.
feel pretty
Right.
jazzed up and stuff. So yeah, but by and large, I think it's a nice distance helps.
Definitely. Well, look, as someone who's obviously like not so close to the trees as you are, trust me, it's a fascinating thing. It came out
Cool.
right on. And it sounds like almost like you're in peak career form and it's your first full-length album, which is crazy, Teddy. I mean, because you decided to pursue music full time, like, kind of, it took you a minute.
Yes.
wasn't it almost a blessing, Teddy, a blessing in disguise that it happened the way things developed the way they did? Because all 12 songs here, there's no filler. They're all
Mm.
like it's like you were waiting your whole life to like just build this great collection.
Oh, well, I mean, it really feels that way. I there are certainly, times over however long where, I was pining to, I felt like my sort of life wasn't necessarily aligned with
Yeah.
really what I wanted to do in my heart. But as I can sit here today, I couldn't have, I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah.
It's not as if it's kind of my first foray in music to begin with. I mean, all throughout college and sort of a decade after college, pretty much, I had full-time commitments and was sort of doing the weekend warrior thing. I had another band. So I'd gone through the process of writing and developing and touring and putting out records, but it was always like this kind of this solo project, which was going to be
Right.
sort of fully my own artistic statement. That was always kind of in the, down like another bend or two. And yeah, I don't think I could have written and created the thing that I did until now at this point in my life with the sort of learned experiences I've had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't be more excited to now share that with
Right
listeners.
on. Right on. And just to like put some color here for my audience, I mean, Teddy basically had a career and a good one at that. You had a corporate career, 9 to 5 in tech.
Mhm.
But Teddy, what was like the moment? Because like you said, this was hovering over you for years. What
Mhm.
was the moment? What was the breakthrough point where you said, not another day, not
Mhm.
another moment, like it's
Mhm.
time to go. Let's
Mhm.
fucking go.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm sure a lot of people know, there's been all these different kind of books and creative practices, and kind of my whole story is the person living their shadow career and opining and like hoping one day to kind of. I mean, I literally probably journaled like every day for 5 or 6 years, plotting
Right.
this eventual move. So it's not as if there was like this.
Mm.
Having said that, I do have this one night, and it honestly sounds fake. I kind of pinch myself even as I'll tell it to you, but basically, I was living in Chicago for 5 years, hustling with a band, working full time at one job. Ended up having another job at like an early stage startup, so just like flying all over the country, conferences, just hustling really hard, sort of beyond 9 to 5, like wake up till you go to bed kind of stuff sometimes. And at this point in time, I was living in New York,
Right.
and it was like the farthest away from music that I had ever been. In Chicago, I was still playing in a band and kind of doing the weekend warrior thing. When I came to New York, it was pretty much just like living in New York in your 20s, partying a lot, traveling, working really hard. And there wasn't a lot of space really for my music outside of kind of my little morning rituals where I would wake up and free write
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to stay connected creatively. And not surprisingly, it was also some of my most kind of like depressed, and that sort of little pit in your stomach that kind of slowly grows when you just feel
Sure.
like you're living a
Like
life
not
that you're not
fulfilled.
meant to live. Yeah, totally. And it all kind of changed. I got out of a relationship, and then for a couple months, one winter when I was living in New York, I started coming out to LA. I have a lot of friends out here that are, full-time music, and it's just such an incredible, thriving community here. And I think it was the first or the second. Yeah, it was actually the second time I did that while I was living in New York. Was this night that uh, I took part in a tribute show where we were at this small little club in LA um, called the Peppermint Club. I mean,
Cool.
this is like a pretty intimate, maybe 200 cap room, and it was a tribute concert to Bill Withers live at Carnegie Hall.
Mm.
And I was already like really getting ready to kind of figure out like how I was going to make this transition, do music full time. Do I go to LA? I don't know. And then we had this night, and it was just a bunch of great singers, and my friend Josh Teitelbaum, who's a longtime collaborator, who kind of organized the whole thing with his group Family Company. And long story short, 10 minutes before we go on, we find out that Bill Withers showed up and is in the room. And this is a guy who has been out of the limelight for like decades, 30, 40
Unbelievable.
years since, all of his incredible output. He's never at any award shows. Like people don't see him. And he showed up to this little gig to see all of us pay tribute to him. He gets up on stage after the show, gives a 5-minute off the cuff speech where at one point he's talking about how, he got his start really late and didn't play the Troubadour until age 33. I just woke up the next day and it was like, if this is not a sign that you need to actually do this and be here, then I don't know what else, you need to see. So that was kind of the night where I knew was going to move to LA. I woke up the next morning, and 2 months after I got back to New York, I packed up and moved here.
Yeah.
Which would have been 4 years ago this May.
That's fantastic.
May.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then within a year or two, it was like, moved to LA, begin making this album, eventually leave my job. And here we are.
And look at you, you're radiating. I love that.
Yeah, man.
And we'll get back to Bill Withers in a minute, but that just gives me like the shivers there for a second. That was awesome. Yeah.
Incredible experience.
What a great moment. I mean, he never comes out, and that night, beautiful.
Yes. And you got to share time with him. And I'll tell you later, I mean, me and my friend Josh, the guy who sort of put that together, ended up spending time with Bill at his house a couple times after that. And the most recent was only a month and a half before he passed away. We were at his house. He was remixing songs. It was just like beyond blessed to be able to experience that.
I mean, that's crazy. And one of the songs in the album is about this. It's about your relationship with Bill Withers, right?
Yeah. The song Crowned.
Unbelievable. So what lessons did you just observe with Bill Withers hanging out or just chatting with him?
Yeah, I mean, it was so surreal, as you can imagine. I mean, he was a guy who was in his early 80s, I think, struggling with mental health, which he did all his life. And part of that was actually kind of the difficulty of seeing sort of, a guy. Now, granted, he has a loving family, he's with his wife, who was the sweetest person, but he's spending a lot of time by himself in a room reading the Bible. And we were having these, I mean, the first time we hung out with him was 8 hours, and he was just telling us all these stories about Aretha, about Bill Russell, the basketball player, and sat there and showed me how to play Ain't No Sunshine on guitar. I mean, some of the most little things you could not even imagine.
Wow.
And I mean, I remember one thing, he told me not to sing like no bitch.
Mm-hmm. And listen, there's a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, you got to do what I did. Get a stool, sit down in that chair, get a guitar, and just play and sing the damn song. I remember that was another thing he told me, but it was just one of the most unforgettable experiences.
Isn't it amazing, Teddy, how the musical legends, the icons, the Hall of Famers are some of the most giving people as well. Sometimes. Yes. We had a chance to chat with Mary Wilson of the Supremes. We were the last conversation before she passed.
Oh my God.
Same thing. We were the last interview before she died, and same thing. You know what I mean? It's just the most loving, beautiful souls. Yeah, man, it's unbelievable. Great story.
Wow. That's pretty incredible too, man.
No, I love that.
You have that to share.
Yeah, absolutely, Teddy. So, okay. So, talking about your songs, the Bill Withers one is great, but there's so many. I mean, I could talk about all of them. Let me ask you about What I Owe.
Sure.
Because it's a great track, and it was featured in a documentary that I think it's on it's on Amazon Prime right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Maybe Next Year, about the Philadelphia Eagles championship run that year.
That's right. Go Birds.
Oh my God, Teddy, but let me ask you about that, because you're a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan, and your song is such an important part of this film that is available to millions. How did that come about?
It was such another kind of crazy universal synchronicity kind of moment. One of my closest friends is a brilliant film composer, and heard that this documentary was getting made, and actually reached out to them on his own accord, just sharing kind of his whole sort of ethos, and ended up working on the project. And this would have been a few years ago. I'm still kind of making the album, and we hadn't seen each other in a while. And I remember we were driving up the PCH and just playing some of the new mixes of what I had so far. And he just really loved that song, pitched it to the producers. They also just really, really loved it. And it's kind of the final scene of the film going into the credits.
It's unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
Which was
when
really
the city is
cool.
going nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super emotional. Love that.
Yeah. And the song itself, I think, that song kind of was written in a flash. We were working on the album, and as you can imagine, for nearly a decade, I've been sort of trying to angle it exactly how I was going to kind of make this sort of project or this work. Some of the songs hadn't even existed yet, but in my heart and gut, I knew, I hadn't yet put something out that I was like, this is the full expression of me right now. And when I actually started working on the record with another incredibly talented friend and producer and artist, Ryan Pauly, who produced the entire album, it was, without, you know, sounding too cliche, it was just like the happiest I'd ever been. It was like finally in my gut, I was reminded of what sort of lights me up the most. And kind of in that just euphoric state, we were, you know, working late hours, you know, and working on the record. And that song came out of me in that process. Right. And it was like coming from a place of just like tremendous gratitude and joy for like having gotten to this point, to be working on this record. But also feeling like I've still got a lot more songs to chase down.
You've said it all, man. What a great artist. Take us away with a song.
Yeah, William. Sure. I'll play what I owe.
Lovely.
You can hear all that good?
I can hear all that good. Thank you.
All right, great. Here we go. Till I pay down what I owe. See, I always wanted to become homecoming king. Pretty things are pretty nice, I suppose. How I wish I spent more time in the deep end fishing, swimming pools, ancient pies, and vintage clothes. But I still got time. You saved my place in line to make it shine like till I pay down what I owe.
Teddy Grossman. The day is downhill from here, my friend. That was absolutely so much, outstanding. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to catching you on the road sometime this year.
Likewise.
Take care.
Take care, brother. Peace.